most of us were taught about respecting, well, they pretty much use the term respect your elders. And so we were groomed with that. But in so many cases, we never really wanted to do it. We just, kind of did it and was doing stuff anyway in opposition to what they had said. So you say, what does this mean? It's going somewhere. It's going somewhere. First, I'm going to read this passage in Luke chapter 7, verses 1 through 10. And it's all about authority and being subject to. There are some things that God does when we're consistent with it. Listen to what he says. Verse 1. Now, when Jesus had ended all of his conversation, the people in the audience, then he went to Capernaum. And then a certain centurion's servant, listen to this, who was dear unto him, was sick and ready to die. Notice how they said, was sick and was ready to die. And when this centurion heard of Jesus, because he hadn't always known, he sent unto him the elders, notice term, elders of the Jews, begging him that he would come and heal his servant. You notice where this is going? Verse 4. And when they got to Jesus, they told him what he wanted to say, saying that he was worthy for whom he should do this. So they go to Jesus and say, the person who's making this request, this is somebody. And he deserves to be heard. Have you found yourself sometime saying, God, you ought to be hearing me, considering what I'm doing, what I've done for you, how I'm sacrificing for you. And I know that other fella, that other woman, they're not doing any of that. So I know I got to have some props with you. And he goes on to say he's a citizen. He loves our nation. Sounds like America, doesn't it? He loved our nation, and he even built us a synagogue. This man had a presence. He was visible. Notice, loved the country. America, no, better not do that. And then Jesus went with them. And he wasn't far from his house. And the centurion sent his friends, saying unto him, Lord, don't trouble yourself. Notice what he says, for I am not worthy that you should come under my roof. Now notice what he says, and notice what the other folk were saying. They said, oh, he's somebody. You need to go and handle this. But he said, hey, Lord, don't do this. My house is not even worthy for you to come into. Not me, not under my roof, not you. Because he looked at himself and he looked at him and said, no, I don't deserve your presence. Are we hearing this? So then verse 7, he says, and neither I thought myself worthy to come unto you. Wow. Not only you come into my house, but I didn't even think I was good enough to come to you and ask something. Yes, sir. This is a great picture. But if you say it, my servant will be healed. Because he said, I am also a man under authority, having under me soldiers. And when I say to one, go, he go. And when I say to another, come, he cometh. And to my servant, do this, and he does this. You notice he painted his picture to say, when you're under, then he said, you follow it. And he said, so I understand, Jesus. He said, I understand. If everything's under your watch, all you have to do is say it. Because I'm living it out, and this is how they respond to me. And when Jesus heard what he said, he marveled and looked at the other people, the crowd, and said, I'm telling you all, I have not found such great faith in anybody in all of Israel. Mm. Now remember, this whole crowd was following him. They've been around him. They've been hearing him. They've been listening to him. This man wasn't even in this crowd, but all these other people have been hearing Jesus speak now. They've heard the Sermon on the Mount, but he's saying, all y'all been hanging around. Y'all been going to church. Y'all been doing all of this. You've been listening to your praise. You've been doing all of this. But here's somebody who just believes me anyhow. And he don't even have all that. But he just believes me and knows everything is subject, to me. And the ones that the centurion had sent, they went back to the house and found that the servant was made whole. Praise the Lord. Just because Jesus spoke. Now look at what he did. He says, I want to be subject to what you say, God. And if I remain subject to what you say, everything else that's subject to me will be at its best. Did you catch that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. He said, I can't heal my servant. I can't make him better. But I know you can. Mm-hmm. And I don't even have to beg you. I don't have to plead with you. I don't have to go through changes. I don't have to give a $10,000 blessing. Just I don't have to stand in no line. He said, but if you say it, it'll take care of itself. But when he's saying it, he said, in other words, he said, in spite of everything that I've done, in spite of everything that got me here, I know I'm still not worthy. But I know you are. He said, I know I'm not capable, but I know that you are. Right. He said, I know it's not in my authority to do this, but I know it's in yours. Yeah. I know you don't have to do it, but I know you can. Mm. And I know that no matter what I say, that won't make you do it, and it won't matter how many people I send to you telling you how good I am or telling you all the good things I've done for them. That still isn't it. It's all up to you.
Yes, sir.
But I want to be right, and I want to honor you. Because he said, I'm not good enough. Not for me to come in your presence or for you to come in mine. So I'm going to honor you. Now notice what he's doing. He's keeping him in the Yahweh place. He's keeping him in the Elohim place. Yeah. He's keeping him in the Adonai place. Yeah. Lord, the creator of all things, the one who walked with us. He said, I'm keeping him right there. Yeah. To say he's all of that. He can speak when God spoke and there was. He said, I know he can do that. He said, then I also know that he can comfort me. Yea, though I walk through the valley, I know that Yahweh, I know he'll do that. And then I know he'll reassure me. He said, you that same God. He said, you that one that does all of this. He said, I know you can handle this. He said, so under authority. Suddenly everything else takes its place. Everything else. Which means when I'm not under authority, I'm subject to the ramifications of being out of order. Which means what would come down the line under authority can't. Are you following it? Yeah. It can't. Because it's like I'm misaligned. Now talking about authority, and then we're going to bring it back to where we are. Here we are now in the 21st century. So let me get you to read this first passage, 1 Corinthians 15:33, and then Proverbs 4:23, and then we'll see how much time we have to get into some of the rest of this. That is 1 Corinthians 15:33, and then Proverbs 4:23. Listen at these words.
Do not be deceived. Evil company corrupts good habits.
In other words, what it is saying is, whoever you give access to your ears are the same ones you're giving access to your heart.
Right.
So then, therefore, you got to think, who am I giving access to? And then listen at this next verse in Proverbs 4:23. Who you give your ears access to, you're giving your heart to. How do you think people get talked into things?
Right.
They are charmed.
That's right.
And if you're around the wrong ones, you've gone down another path that in so many cases you never thought you would end up being there. But listen in Proverbs 4:23.
Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it springs the issues of life.
Notice what it said? Your heart, your ears, your heart. It said you got to guard it. Because it says out of it flows the issues of life. Now notice what it says in Matthew 15, it says it is out of the heart that your character, that your lifestyle, that your choices come. It said it's not what's from the outside. It's not what I've given the opportunity to get in here. So now what starts to happen, if I'm not allowing the right sounds to have access, get this, it's not that I don't hear sounds. The ones that I'm giving access to me drives my lifestyle.
That's right.
That's what drives my lifestyle. Who am I surrounded by? What do you know me for? When you look to see who the crowd is, you have to ask, whoa, that's who he really is. Less than when I say, that's who he is. You got to look to see, whoa, who does he call friend? Who calls him friend? And it says, that's you. That's who you are. Are you following the deal?
Yes.
Now notice, here in America, we're supposed to be subject to the Constitution.
Yes.
You follow me?
Yes.
We're supposed to be, government, elected officials are supposed to be subject to the Constitution. Follow this now. No individual, but the Constitution is the authority in this country. The Constitution is the authority.
Yes.
Not a party. Not Democrat, Republicans, Independents, Green, Libertarian. The Constitution is what every citizen is supposed to be subject to. Now follow this. The battleground is all about parties.
Yes.
You're not hearing the discussion about subject to the Constitution.
No.
You're hearing subject to the party.
Yes.
Are you following it?
Yes.
So see, this country is not under authority.
No.
Amen.
So whenever something is not under authority, what do we know happens to that country?
Chaos.
Are you following what the deal is here?
Yes.
It has lost where the authority is. This year alone, we've lost champions of justice
Yes, we have.
who honored the authority.
Yeah, they did.
Joseph Lowry,
Yes.
C.T. Vivian. You say, well, I don't know who you're talking about. Google the names.
Yeah.
John Lewis. And then Notorious R.B.G. Subject honored the Constitution.
Yeah.
They were never trying to change that. They wanted to say honor that. And to say it was being misrepresented by some others. And by contrast, look at who we have left. Donald J. Trump, William Barr, Mitch McConnell, Mike Pence, and some confused white evangelicals.
Yeah.
who are on the wrong side of authority. Wow. They might chase me down now.
Yeah.
But they're on the wrong side of authority. Because the authority is what? The Constitution.
Yes.
We can stop right here and go home.
Yes, sir.
And have to pick this up on another day. The whole story has been told.
That's right.
Yeah.
Guess what? They are all out of order.
Out of order. Yes. Out of order.
Totally out of order.
Out of order.
This isn't even about party.
It's not.
This isn't even about Republican. This isn't even about
No,
Democrats.
it's not.
They are out of order.
Totally out of order.
Because the only thing we're talking about, the only thing oppressed people have always been talking about is the Constitution.
Yeah.
That's all they've ever been talking about. Let us have what you wrote down.
Yes.
They never asked for anything else.
That's right.
All they ever asked for was, isn't this in writing? Isn't this my right? Isn't this my privilege? Isn't this what this country is about? Isn't this where it's so-called supposed to have been founded? The land of the free and the home of the brave, a more perfect union.
Yes.
That's right.
Under the
Preach
Constitution.
now.
Under the
Yes.
It's out of order.
It's out of order.
So then when they're out of order with the Constitution, they're out of order with God. You say, how are they out of order with God? Because it says obey.
That's right.
1 Corinthians chapter 13, 1 Timothy chapter 2
cooperation.
says God puts them in place and they're subject to Him.
Him.
See, the whole deal is, it said they're subject to Him. They're not subject to the party platform.
That's right.
It's subject to, it says God puts them and they think they got there with the campaign and with something.
That's right.
God put them there.
There.
They can talk about this post office. They can talk about this all they want to. They can try to rig it. They can try to do everything they want to. When it all boils down, who's going to be in is because God said, this is who I'm going to let be in there.
That's right.
He can't trump this election
That's right.
in spite of what he tried. If God don't want him in there, they can do whatever they want to.
That's right.
They can try to shut down the voting. They can try to not count. They can try to do all of that. All they want to. But when it all boils down, they're out of order. They're out of order. Right now, they're out of order.
Yes.
They are totally
Out of order. Yes, sir.
out of order. And this is not opinion. This is fact. This is Bible.
Bible.
They are out of.
That's the word. That's the word.
And everyone historically in Scripture has been out of order. God has tagged them
Yeah.
to say, you out of order.
Mm-hmm.
Price to pay.
Guess what God did? He sent Moses to Pharaoh to say, get in order. Get your house in order.
Yes, he did.
He gave him a chance to do it. And he kept saying, he said, if you don't, I'm going to plague you to death.
Yeah.
Hello? What are we dealing with right now? He said, I'm going to plague you to death. What country right now is in the most trouble? The one that's out of order. Are y'all following me now?
Yeah.
The ones that are out of order. None of the rest of them are close.
That's
Because
right.
this country is out of order.
That's right.
And therefore,
Yes.
the pestilence is out of control.
Yes, it is.
Because the house is out of, the White House is out of order.
That's right.
Go ahead.
She's fighting,
The Constitution.
and the scientists that was set up by this government
Yeah.
to lead,
That's
which
right.
means subject to their authority.
Yeah.
Make it plain. Make it plain.
The law says don't violate what the local jurisdictions have put in place. What are they doing? I don't care what you say. They're out of order. They're not subject to the authority. They'll go to places, forget that, we're going to do this.
Yep.
It's out of
So
order.
Yeah.
Are you following it? When you're out of order, you're out of authority. When you're not under authority, then God's saying, oh, I'm going to get you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Preach.
Wow.
Preach.
Now bring it on home to our house.
Yeah.
What your house look like? What your house look like?
Whoa. Help us, Lord.
What you look like?
Help me, Lord.
Are you under authority?
Help me.
What authority are you under?
Help me, Lord.
Now, bring it home.
See what it all boils down. What authority are you under? If your stuff is ragged, check your authority line.
Yeah.
I promise you, it's off.
Yeah.
See, God wouldn't say, I'll bless you going in and I'll bless you coming out. But that's based on authority.
Authority.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There is a prerequisite.
So the reason why the church gets out of order
Speak, Lord. Speak.
is because the houses where they come from
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
out of order.
Out of order. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, you can't have an out of order church when you got some out of order homes.
Yes, sir.
You can't have no out of order home unless you got an out of order woman or an out of order man.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Out of your house. Yes, sir.
Because there ain't no order. It's chaos. 1 Corinthians 14 says it's confusion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which means the confusion leaves the house to come into the house. And right now, it comes to Zoom. It comes to Facebook.
Yeah.
It comes to Teams. It comes to conference lines. Hello? You say, well, I ain't in there. Your stuff is coming through the airwaves. Your posts are telling the story. Your chat box, your Instagram, your TikTok are telling the story about what kind of order you in.
About you.
Right?
About
You're
you.
telling on yourself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When you can't get along with nobody at work, you out of order.
Yeah.
Y'all follow what I'm saying? You out of order. It's just looking at whoever you're under authority of. You out of order.
Out of order.
That's the bottom line. Oh, they ain't never right here. You out of order. You didn't go there to take over. You went there to work.
Yes, sir.
Oh, isn't that deep? You out of order.
Follow directions. Follow directions.
They always been doing it. You out of order. You joining the misfits.
Yes, sir.
You joining the evil company. Which means you getting just as corrupted by giving them access. Whew.
Wow. What a word.
God. And friends, just watch. We have to get to the other part next week. Just watch them fall. These folk who are misleading people. Watch them fall. And out of that whole crew in this whole White House, the one with the greatest burden is Mike Pence. For claiming and
The
proclaiming
name.
to be one of his.
Uh-huh.
He's carrying the heaviest responsibility because he is not salt and light on Capitol Hill in that White House.
He swallowed.
The burden is on him more than on Uncle Donald.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Because Uncle Donald is full-blown flesh. He can't help but do what he's doing. But Mike Pence names the name.
Yep.
And as you say, are you scared to say some of this? No.
It's the truth.
It's just what it is.
It's the truth.
This is just what it is.
Yeah.
Truth is-
And if we don't rightly put it out here, then God's going to hold us accountable.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's the reason why we need to post this and run this and share today's service and send it everywhere and let everybody see for themselves, is it true?
Is it true?
They out of order. They out of order. They flat out of order. Anytime you got a guilty person, flat out guilty, has pleaded guilty, has said I lied, and then you have an attorney general who will come and say, no, we're going to change the sentence.
Yeah.
We're going to redefend. You out of order.
They're out of order.
Because he's already said, I lied, I messed up. And he said, no, you ain't. We're going to fix it.
That's right.
pass.
Anytime you quote Churchill and FDR and say, I want to keep it calm, and you contribute to chaos, and then you're going to say what it will be like under somebody else, and you sitting up here watching, saying, I can stop violence in 30 minutes, you out of order. And a liar on top of that. Can't nobody stop it in 30 minutes except God says, cease and desist. If he says it, just like this centurion said, all you got to do is say the word.
Come on.
Everything shuts down.
Yeah.
But it won't be as a result. It won't be as a result of sending in no National Guard. That will not be. They ain't gonna do it. If God says cease and desist, everybody would lay their arms down and say, "Wow, isn't it a new day? Isn't it wonderful?" Then everything would change. It would be a love fest without getting high. Y'all, that's a whole other story right there.
Yeah. Amen.
Make it plain.
So here we are. Here we are. Let's try to read a couple of verses out of Matthew 7, starting at verse 15. So then the context will be as we pick this back up next week, Matthew 7. And listen, God, in 1 Peter 4, it says judgment must begin at the house of God. And if it says it begins there, and he says the righteous barely get by. So what chance does somebody else have? Starting at verse 15, let's take it.
Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravenous wolves. You will know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles?
Okay, let's stop here for today. Notice it says, beware. Look out. In other words, if you know a bad dog down the street, I mean, you looking every step of the way. I'm telling you, when I see these people walking with these dogs, with these leashes, and these dogs are bigger than they are, I'm just wondering, do I have anything in my hand? Anything in my hand. And so many times I don't have anything in my hand. So I start thinking, if I got to fight this dog, I got to think about where I got to hit him. I mean, that's the only thing I'm thinking. I said, I don't have anything in my hand. And I said, if this dog gets loose, what am I going to have to do? I'm going to have to punch him in his nose. I said, I'm already thinking. I got to be prepared for something. I can't panic when he gets turned loose. I got to be thinking now, what angle am I going to stand? What position am I going to be in case I have to fight this dog?
That's right. That's right.
Beware.
Yeah.
Now, I ain't into no dog fighting, but if I have to fight him, I'm going to have to fight him. Now, that's just all it is, too.
That's right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But notice it, beware of false prophets. In other words, if they were not around, there would be no reason to beware.
That's right.
Are you following it?
That's right.
If they didn't exist, there's nothing to beware of.
Amen.
So it says they already are here.
Right.
No, they come to you looking like they're true prophets. But deep down inside, because remember, out of the heart, Matthew 15 flows who they really are. So in other words, they're out there. They're everywhere. Enticing. Notice that you shall know them by their fruit. And we'll stop here today. What fruit? What's talking about there? It's their life. In Galatians 5, when it talks about the fruit of the Spirit, the fruit of the flesh, it really is talking about how they live.
Yeah.
How they live tells the story if they are true or false.
That's right.
And here's the deal. You don't have to investigate them. You just watch and listen. They always tell on themselves because their life keeps getting in the way. Their life gets in the way. It gets in the way all the time. See, anytime, and then here's the shortened version of that. Anytime that somebody's trying to bring allegiance to themselves at the expense of God, they're a false prophet. Rather than 1 Corinthians 11:1 says, be ye imitators of me as I imitate Christ.
Amen.
That's a totally different scenario. And here's the deal. The only way you really can be subjected to him is that you have to be subject to the leadership. Now, if they're lined up with him, then you have to ask, what's the fight? And if they're misaligned with him, you don't need to be there anyway. Are you following that? You don't need to be around. If they're all over the place talking crazy and are not Jesus-centric, then it's automatically letting you know it's about other stuff. It can't be about prosperity. It can't be about what you're going to get. It can't be about all this stuff. It's got to be about your personal relationship. And if it isn't driving you back to your personal relationship, they're a false prophet.
Yeah.
Anything else, it don't even matter. If they're not talking about you growing in your walk. Now, one thing for sure, I know I ain't no false prophet. And the reason why I know that, anybody who knows me and know, I'm talking about get your stuff together.
You are.
Get your stuff together.
Yep.
And I'm going to help you to know when it is or when it isn't, but most of the time when it's not. I won't say a whole lot when it is, but you sure enough will hear when it ain't. Y'all hear what I'm saying? I got the can't help it. I got the flat out can't help it because I'm subject to. I'm responsible. Everything that goes out of here, I challenge anybody to fact check it.
Yeah.
And I promise you it won't be no lies.
Amen.
It therefore makes it a problem. If it's the truth. And the truth will make you free. Then he's saying, if you ain't better as a result, there's a price to pay because you're not under authority. The truth of God's word. So when he says, in other words, God asked, did I show you something? Did I show you something different today? He said, now if I did, every time I look at you, I'm expecting you to be lined up with it. Because you can't say, oh, I didn't know I was supposed to go. No. He says, I'm going to hold you accountable for that.
Yeah.
He says, nah, it's a new game now. It's a new game. And I'll stop right here. You can't ask someone to be subject to if they are not subject to someone.
Amen.
Now, I got that covered a long time ago. And I'd even give people this number to call for themselves to verify. You can't ask for what you don't practice.
Amen.
That's right. That's
Amen.
right.
Are you following what I'm saying? If you don't practice, just what did Sheriff say? Hush your mouth or shut your mouth? Which one is it? Well, that one. We that, you know, that one. That's the one we're talking about. All right, Brother Dave, you all got something to close us out on?
Oh, you give me that joy. You give me that joy like a river. You give me that mercy I never deserve. You give me that love, nothing better. You give me that sweet peace like never before. There's nobody like God, like God. I'm talking about my God, my God. There's nobody like God, like God. Nobody. I'm talking about my God, my God. Oh, you give me that joy. You give me that joy like a river. You give me that mercy I never deserve. You give me that love, nothing better. You give me that sweet peace like never before. There's nobody like God, like God. I'm talking about my God, my God. There's nobody like God, like God. I'm talking about my God, my God. Listen to this. Your love is so amazing. Jesus.
Never get enough for your love. Never get enough for your love, Lord. Never get enough for your love. Say I never get enough for your love, Jesus. Never get enough for your love. Say I never get enough for your love, Lord. Never get enough for your love. And I never get enough for your love, Jesus. Never get enough for your love. And I never get enough for your love, Lord. Never get enough for your love. I'll never get enough for your love, Jesus. Never get enough for your love. I'll never get enough for your love, Lord. Never get enough for your love. Say I'll never get enough, never get enough, never. Never get enough, never get enough, never. Say I'll never get enough, never get enough, never. 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 Never get enough, never get enough. Say your love is so amazing. Your love is so amazing. Your love is so incredible. Your love is so incredible. Your love is so amazing. Your love is so amazing. Your love is so incredible. Your love is so incredible. Oh, say never get enough for your love, Jesus. Never get enough for your love. I never get enough for your love, Lord. Never get enough for your love. I'll never get enough for your love, Jesus. Never get enough for your love. I'll never get enough for your love, Lord. Never get enough for your love. Say never get enough, never get enough, never. Never get enough, never get enough, never. Say never get enough, never get enough, never. Never get enough, never get enough. I'll never get enough, never get enough, never. Never get enough, never get enough. I'll never get enough, never get enough, never. Never get enough, never get enough. He's so good. 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 Come on out there. He's so good. Say it to yourself. He's so good. Come on, declare it. He's so good. He's so good. Get that hand wave in. So good. He's 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 so good. So good. So
Yeah, and so what I want to do is to make sure I publicly thank our ministry team, and because it's something to be under my authority. It is something. So I want to personally say thank you. So Derek, who leads our music ministry, we got Tawanda straight in front of me on my right, Gwen on my left, Asia up front, and then I'm going to ask Karen, who is our scribe. Come on up. I want to make sure you see it. You just walk, you will walk by, and then Roland and James and Michael. We want to make sure part of the ministry team. We want to make sure that everybody gets to see where you all are. And then as soon as Michael walks by, then we're going to give him the chance to go and get Jerica to come up here, because she is behind the camera all the time. We're going to make sure that you all get the chance to see who she is. Now here's Michael coming now, walking by part of the ministry team. So now when he circles by, he's going to he's coming. So the last thing that Jerica wants is to be seen up here, but she has to, because she's the person behind this camera all of the time, and we just want to thank them. And we're missing one other person. We just can't put him on screen right now. Dewan is in Kansas City right now. Maybe he can holler. You can't see him, but he is hollering right now. I promise you that. And our time is up, and we thank you for yours.
Amen.